What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000, and we hope you guys will help us get there. Alright, so finally, Season 3, Episode 1 of American Gods. I've been waiting a long time for this. I just actually yesterday finished rewatching Season 2, actually more like binge watching Season 2 for like the third time. A lot of people hated Season 2 of American Gods. I personally did not hate it. I just didn't think it was as good as Season 1 was. A lot of shows are that way for me. It seems like Season 1 will get me hooked, and then Season 2 will be a letdown, and then Season 3 I'll hope for the best. I'm that way with The Boys right now. I'm hoping for the best. Season 2 kind of let me down a little bit, so I'm hoping for the best in Season 3. Um, but I think American Gods is on the right track though. This episode really kind of reminded me of kind of what we have lost on this show. Pablo Schreiber doesn't look like he's going to be back as Mad Sweeney. Orlando Jones is Mr. Nancy. I think Orlando Jones, if I'm not mistaken, will not be back as Mr. Nancy, and that is going to be something that is going to hurt this show tremendously. But as far as Pablo Schreiber and Emily Browning goes, the woman who plays Laura Moon, they have a connection. I mean, they haven't had a connection since Season 1 that is just hard to explain. It's really one of the connections that have kept me going watching this show and being so attentive towards it is it's just got they've got this on-screen chemistry, a chemistry that Ricky Whittle and Ian McShane kind of have to a certain extent. You know, it's a different chemistry. It feels different, but it's still, you know, when you see them, those two, Ricky Whittle and Ian McShane, on screen together, you feel a connection between the characters. Same with Pablo Schreiber and Emily Browning. You feel that connection towards these characters when they're together. Apart, they're not so good. I know Laura Moon, when she arrived at the end of Season 2 and was talking with Shadow Moon, I don't feel that with Ricky Whittle and Emily Browning. Like, I don't feel that connection with those two characters, and I'm hoping in Season 3 maybe they'll kind of break apart from it. But overall, I feel like we are seeing some subtraction problems that is going to drastically affect how a lot of viewers see this. See the world of American Gods. Another notable loss is Crispin Glover. He did a great job as Mr. World. I am going to be sorely, sorely disappointed this season without him. I didn't really like that Miss World. I thought she was a little too aggressive. The thing about Crispin Glover is Crispin Glover has this sinister way about him. He doesn't necessarily have to do anything evil to just have that presence about him that keeps you on your feet or keeps you interested. I didn't really get that from the new Miss World. Technology Boy, I think I'm going to like him a lot more in Season 3 than I have the first two seasons. First two seasons, he just was so flippin' annoying. There was parts of him that I liked his character, but he was just so annoying, so in your face. He just reminded me of just this typical millennial that just doesn't get anything. That's the way he comes off as me. But overall, I mean, that's kind of my take of, before I get into the episode. The episode overall was kind of slow. I thought it had some really good points, even though there's some things that always make me wonder why does Shadow Moon always think that he is going to be able to just start life anew. You don't meet Odin every day, and when you do, your life will never be the same after that. He should know that, especially after finding out that he's Odin's son. Um, you know, I don't really understand um, why he, I don't know why he tries this almost every season. It seems like, it seemed like in season 2 he had kind of come to terms with being in the employment of Mr. Wednesday. But season 3 seems like the polar opposite. It seems like he's just completely and totally done with him. So I'm kind of disappointed that was kind of a waste that they even had to have to do this reuniting aspect again. To me, that was something that they could have done without. I do think that them being on their road trip kind of ways, I think really works for them. I was disappointed in this episode it didn't continue. Like I said, I think these characters are great together. Apart, not so much. Marilyn Manson appeared in this episode, and it was one of those moments that I was like, oh man, that's kind of cool, but then at the same time, it was kind of, I don't know, it makes sense. It makes sense. I will say, I don't know. I hated it and then loved it all at the same time. Not a huge Marilyn Manson fan. Every time I think of Marilyn Manson, I don't think of the musician Marilyn Manson. I think of the guy that constantly was raping Juice in Sons of Anarchy in prison. That's why I don't know, when I see Marilyn Manson, I think of that, and I'm like, oh man, that just reminds me of the last season of Sons of Anarchy, and that just kind of pisses me off to think about it, because that was one of my favorite shows. I just felt like got ruined the last few episodes. But anyways, it kind of really explains kind of the end game for Wednesday. Wednesday is going to use basically the revitalization of these metal bands that kind of are worshiping these old gods, and getting those people to chant and to be excited for him. So it kind of brings up exactly, or it shows how Mr. Wednesday really intends on carrying on in the future, maybe by kind of reinventing himself through these metal bands, and gaining followers through that, reinventing himself, getting the whole nostalgia thing. You hear these people now that they're like, well, I'm spiritual, but I'm not really into God. Well, those people are usually more prone towards worshiping the old gods, nature, so forth, so forth, so forth. And so I kind of feel like he's maybe found his followers now. I enjoyed this season. I mean this episode. Even though, like I said, I thought it was really slow. Them on the road, Ricky Whittle and Ian McShane on the road trip, meeting that Indian god, our Native American god. I thought that was. I thought that was interesting. I've seen that guy from somewhere. I don't want to say it's the guy from Northern Exposure, even though I do kind of believe it's the one of the actors from Northern Exposure way back in the day. A show I watched when I was a little kid. But overall, I've never really quite figured out in this show why everybody hates Wednesday so much. There's a lot of those gods that are douchebags. I don't know what Wednesday has done that has pissed so many people off. I mean, yes, they go into detail. This Native American god tells, well, he hates Wednesday because of Wednesday's people coming over there and destroying his people. So, I mean, I guess that, that makes sense, but it just seemed like every um, every god they come across has like some bone to pick with Wednesday, to the point where they'd almost just rather fade into memory and die than to follow in his footsteps. And so it always kind of made me wonder, well, why is he going after another Native American god in Utah at the end of this episode? Um, why will that not have the same problem as the one he just had? So I didn't really understand that aspect of it. Um, I don't know, man. There just wasn't really a whole lot to really talk about other than the changes that was made during this from last season to this season. A lot of the characters that we had came to know just didn't show up. I mean, of course, you don't have Gillian Anderson as media. You don't see Salim or Mr. Ibis. You don't see any of those characters appearing in this show. We did get to see the Queen of Sheba. We did get to see her. But as far as her really playing any kind of role, she really didn't in this episode. I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was slow, but I still enjoyed it. It has some really funny little moments to it. I'm looking forward to season 3, episode 2. I hope Shadow Moon and Wednesday will continue on their road trip. I think they work best that way. I'm still hoping upon hope that Pablo Schreiber will return as Mad Sweeney, and maybe there'll be something between him and Laura Moon. I'm hoping that's the case. But I know outside forces have determined it probably would be otherwise. But who knows? Who knows? I've been shocked by shows before that said that these actors or actresses won't necessarily be being a part of the show and then showing back up, even though it might be in slower or in less scenes. Let's just put it that way. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. I would give this episode maybe a 6 out of 10. If I had to guess, I would say about a 6 out of 10. Simply because there just wasn't a whole lot to it. You could tell it's one of those episodes where the chess pieces are moving into place for further episodes. But as far as this episode, besides setting up later episodes, it really didn't do very much. All that was really confirmed was, that Shadow Moon was Wednesday's son. That was it. And it didn't even answer many questions beyond that on that topic. So I was a little bit disappointed on that. But overall, like I said, I'm excited about season 3, episode 2. Let's just see where it goes. We left this episode with Shadow Moon with a gun to the back of his head. Apparently, he's got a pissed off neighbor he's going to have to deal with. I'm curious to see how that relationship is going to play out. Whether it's somebody that's going to be important for future episodes down the road. It seems like Shadow Moon is almost kind of like playing what Mad Sweeney had gone through in the first 2 seasons. Nothing goes right for Shadow Moon. And it's not because he's not missing it's not because he's missing a missing coin, lucky coin. It's just wherever he goes, trouble follows. And I feel like the sooner he understands that, the better off his character will be. Because right now, I feel like that's the one thing that kind of is lacking about his character is that lack of self-awareness and the acceptance that he had in season 2 that I thought worked so well is just completely gone back to the way it was in season 1, and I'm not quite sure why. I feel like he was at his peak in season 2, and I hope he gets back to it in in the next episode. But yeah, overall, like I said, I enjoyed the episode. Let me know what y'all think about it. Let me know if there was something I missed. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot to this. The only thing that I paid the most attention to was like I said, the subtractions of a lot of characters, a lot of fan favorite characters that might not be showing up. The whole Laura Moon disintegrating thing, that wasn't anything to me because, like I said, I've seen the trailers and I know she's gonna be in future episodes. So that didn't mean anything to me. That was really the only shocking moment. But overall, guys, let me know what y'all thought of this episode. And y'all take care. See y'all episode 2 of season 3 of American Gods. Take care, guys.